What's up, everybody?
Hello. Yo, yo.
There he is.
Hey.
Let me turn my volume up.
Gentlemen,
How's it going, man?
going great.
Excited to see you tonight.
We just rolled into town. I just rolled off the bus.
Lovely. How's the House of Blues?
It's great. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see it.
You guys probably know this place.
Yeah. The good old House of Blues.
Yeah, the old inner sanctum.
Pretty much the same in every state.
That's right. They even got my clothes out. They brought me a hanger and everything.
Right.
Hey guys, man, I think the video came out outstanding.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.
We think so too. We're very, very happy that we got to make it happen with you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you again so much.
Of course. I think the internet really likes it too.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I've just been getting a lot of people that I haven't even heard from in a while. You know? Yeah. Did the rest of the shoot go okay that night? I remember you guys were off after I split.
Yeah, the next location was the first location in the video when you Lightroom, and we had been shooting since like 11 a.m. that day, and it's like around 11 p.m. I did that like intro riff, like when it first starts picking up, and I kind of had like a little bit of a mental breakdown because I was so tired and beat. And of course, that's like my hardest part of the song. So, you know, but aside from that, it was good.
Yeah, it's funny. It's the same with me. It's like whenever I got to shoot a video the next day, I'm always kind of like, you know. The night before, when I shot the Hydra video, I didn't sleep one wink the whole night before. I was so excited.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Are you playing the
Hydra? Say what?
Are you playing the Hydra tonight?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I have it on a stand.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Dude, I mean, we held the thing. I wouldn't want to put it on.
Oh man.
Break your back.
It's hard. It's hard on your legs because I got that waist strap.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So all the weights on you. Well, yeah, I showed you, but I have a great shot of us all straddling the Hydra.
Correct.
That's pretty cool.
Like a very ornamental cock piece.
Yeah.
Except you don't want to hang that from your balls.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could
only
stretch them out, a little joking.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So we get into 3 minutes into a live Steve Vai.
We're already going to be banned.
Yeah. They're gonna be like 5 minutes in. We're like, you guys, their Instagram's going to shut it off. We're going to have to.
You're ruining record sales.
Yeah.
Well, we are getting a surplus of heart emoji things now since talking about cock pieces. Someone's liking it.
What, you even get more than little heart emojis. You get little happy faces.
I don't know why.
It's because everybody's thinking about sex most of the time.
Yeah, we're human.
That's right. We need to reproduce.
Yeah.
No, but really, I've watched the video a bunch of times, and the first remarkable thing is when you come in with your part there, Tim. I mean, I listen to that and I watch, and I'm really so fulfilled when I see something like that has that kind of structure, because everything is it's a melody. There's such a sweet melody in what you're playing, but the way that you're moving it around, and the bass notes and then harmonics, and it's just stunning. And then Scotty, when you come in with that solo, I mean, you know, I woke up in the 80s basically, when it came time to like build my technique and stuff like that. And there was nobody even remotely playing like you guys are, you know? So to see it now is, it's fantastic.
That makes us feel really, really good inside to hear that.
Yes.
Scott comes in, that's like the first like goosebumps moment of the song, and then when you come in, that's like the, you know, the grand reveal. And I remember like right when we filmed it and we went to go look at it on the screen, it's like, dude, this is so fucking sick. Just even without the music, you know what I mean? We were just watching without music, and then
I'm so happy that they used that reveal instead of the one that I kind of thought up, because it's just so much more dramatic.
Very dramatic. I don't remember the one that. What was your idea for the?
Well, it's just start on the fingers.
Oh, and then zoom out
and pull back. But I so much like what they did better.
Yeah, those dudes, Caleb and them at Handcrake are so good at what they do. I feel like I've shot probably like 5 or 6 videos with them this year. There's like another one that's coming out next week, and you know, they're like masters at it. You know, it's just it's a chef's kiss moment. It's
nice to gather really great people.
Yeah,
you know, that love what they're doing, and you just get good stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine over the years you've worked with so many amazing videographers, and you've probably made a lot of great relationships with them over the years.
Oh yeah. I edit all my videos.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't know, I seem to have an eye for that. But on the last video I made, usually I'll do them very simply, you know, like I'll cut something live in my studio, you know. But with the Hydra, I just thought, you know what, I don't want to mess around with this. I'm going to hand it off. And John Heller and these guys, they were like the A team. This is a really great production team. It was very expensive. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's
I playing guitar, but it cost $100,000, you know.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's worth it. And I've been very fortunate. Like, it's just so important to surround yourself with people that are that like what they do. Like my social media team, Stephen and Stephanie Bradley at 969. They are just fantastic. I don't have to do much, and they take care of everything. And they got my Instagram numbers here up to like over 1 million.
Yeah, it's cool. Big man Steve out.
You guys know the Bradleys?
Oh, I don't know. So they're a social media team?
Yeah.
Yeah, these days, I guess this year is when we first started having a team do like all of our socials and stuff. And it's been really nice kind of just like delegating all of the things that we used to have to do by ourselves to like a team of people that are like much better at it. Really gives us a lot more time to, you know, work on the things that matter, like practicing and preparing performances.
Yeah. Yeah, because that stuff really can bog you down.
Yeah. No, I mean, I remember when we first started, it was like, that's all we did was like DM people on Twitter and like be like, hey, like, what do you think of this? And like literally self-promo. And yeah, this guy over here was like, he was the one, you know, talking to the fans, like really laying down like almost something like guerrilla warfare type, like, you know, just
street team.
Yeah, like on a street team, you know, like, and we have to do it
too in the beginning.
Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, give us all the stories.
I was in Alcatraz. Alcatraz was a band. It had Graham Bonnet as a singer, who was really big in the 80s, in Rainbow and this kind of thing. So Alcatraz was like, Yngwie was in the band, and then he left the band and I joined the band. And we made our first record, and we were signed to Capitol Records. And we went down to the label to promote the record. We had to all get on the phones and call radio stations.
That's hard, bro.
That's really hard. And I got to just tell you this funny story. So we're sitting there in the office, and the A&R guy at the time goes, okay, Steve, you take these numbers, call the radio stations, and request Alcatraz music. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't do that. It's so cheesy, you know. It's just, I don't know if I could do it, you know? He goes, come on, everybody's doing this. This is how you do it. The band has to call, you know? So I'm like, what if they recognize? They're not going to recognize you. So I'm like, all right. So the first phone call I make, I pick up the phone. And it's so weird because I found myself disguising my voice. I don't know.
What voice did you do? Can you do it for me?
Like this? Hi, I'm wondering if you can play this. I'm not kidding you. This is true. I go, hi, I'm wondering if you could play the new Alcatraz record. And the first thing the guy says to me is this somebody from the band? And I went, and I hung it up.
Oh, you got you, dude. You got you.
That's awesome. I guess that's like the equivalent of today's record labels asking their bands to make TikToks.
Yeah.
But, you know, like the calling the record label is a little bit more discreet. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because unless they put you on the radio and they're like, is this Steve Vai asking for Steve Vai? Like, so that's really cool, man.
That's what bands have to do. In the beginning, you got to build the story, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What year did you first like start touring and like being really in a band or being like a professional, you know?
It was 1980 with Frank Zappa.
Wow.
Yeah, my first tour was the fall tour in 1980.
How old were you then?
20.
20. Okay, cool. That was like we were all 20.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. Frank used to tour twice a year, basically. He'd go for 3 months in the fall and 3 months in the summer. And he usually went to Europe in the summer. The first year I was with him, I was so young, you know. Can you imagine touring like that at 20?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything, you know. And Frank had 80 songs.
Oh, that's a lot. How long of a set is that? Like 2.5 hours?
No, we had to know 80 songs, and he would pick like maybe 12 for the show, and that's about two and a half hours. But he would write the set list right before we went on stage, and it was different every single night. And probably about 60% of his songs were like just death-defying melody that just did not belong on a guitar. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Imagine writing a melody on a piano. Well, you would be able to do it. You guys would smoke that stuff.
Dude, we need months of preparation with one set list from beginning to end,
right?
Knowing and no deviations to it.
That's the way it is with me too. But with Frank, you just never knew. So I had to like practice all night, all the other songs, just in case he called one of them.
That's a good Studebaker harp.
What's the record that one's from?
Oh, I don't know. Billy's Mountain.
Do you know that song Billy the Mountain?
Oh yeah.
Dude, did you ever play that one?
No, I missed on that one. That was a good one.
My dad, used to play that for me in the car when I was a child, and when we started touring, my dad wanted to come out like back in the days when we were in a band. And he would like sit up in the front seat with a Frisbee and like just roll weed all day while we were driving. And he was, hey guys, what do you think about this? And fucking, he put on Billy Was a Mountain, and it was like 25 minutes. They'd never heard it before, 25-minute song. And yeah, they
it's
like
the best. It's just like
their Twitter names.
Baker Hawk.
Yeah, his name was Studebaker Hawk on Twitter.
Right.
His time. Yeah, and Ethel was a tree growing off the side of his shoulder.
Yeah, Ethel.
Yeah.
So, did you ever hear Gregory Peccary?
Is that a Frank Zappa one?
Yeah, that's another one of his epic kind of. It's just fantastic. It's just wild because it's got every kind of thing in it. Funny stories, crazy orchestrations and stuff. And Frank wrote the whole thing in a wheelchair.
Was he? Damn. Did he need to be in the wheelchair, or he just did
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they were on tour in the Mothers, and they were on tour, and it was, I think, their last show in London, and somebody got on the stage and pushed Frank into the orchestra pit.
Oh no.
And he fell and broke like his all sorts of stuff, you know, broke all sorts of stuff, legs and arms, and was in a wheelchair for quite a long time, but he still kept writing and writing and writing. And Gregory Peccary was one of the things that came from it. And if you like Billy the Mountain, you'll like Gregory Peccary.
We're gonna listen to Gregory Peccary after this call.
Yeah.
Get high and listen to it.
Oh man.
That's awesome. So after Frank, how long did you play with Frank, and what did you do after that?
Well, at first I started working for him when I was 18 because I was at Berkeley, and I got some tapes and stuff to him, and he wanted to try me out for the band, but when he found out I was 18, he said forget it. So he hired me to transcribe.
Okay.
So I started transcribing all this music for him, and then I moved out to California and joined the band when I was 20 and toured toured 1980, 81, and 82. So, and then I transcribed for him a while after that, but he had quit touring for a couple of years, and so probably 5 years.
Okay.
Altogether.
Very nice. So when you transcribed, was that like sheet music or like tablature?
It was everything. No, it was all sheet music. There was no tab at all. It was all in the old days, in order to copyright a song, you had to have a lead sheet.
Okay.
You know? But Frank had me do everything. You know, like there was times where I created scores. Like there's this one record called The Roxy and Elsewhere. You guys would love it, man. If you ever heard Roxy and Elsewhere, one would think that you guys were inspired by Frank, because he had a lot of that kind of angular stuff, you know. And so I would transcribe all the instruments, and then he gave me like this hours of guitar solos, his guitar solos with the drums with Vinnie Colaiuta. And those guys used to take it to Venus, and there was no tab in those days for something like that. You know, it's just all written. And if you ever get a chance, check out the Frank Zappa Guitar Songbook. That's got all, you know, my transcriptions in it. It's pretty.
Right by Steve. That's cool. So when you were transcribing, I'm assuming there weren't computers. You were handwriting that.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have to write the staffs too, or did he give you like staff, or did you print out like staff paper? Did they have printers back
Well,
then?
I did staff paper.
Okay.
And then I, you know, you listen to it, and you know that if a guitar riff went da 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 da, you know, you get the first note, dun 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 dun. You just hear it.
Yeah, I would imagine really good at transcribing in a quick amount of time, just from doing that much music.
Well, I should be better. I haven't done it in decades, you know.
Yeah.
Now I just compose.
Yeah.
Dude, when we have to tab our stuff out, I'm like because I can't really read sheet music, so I'm pretty dependent on the program telling me, like, if there's not enough beats in there, it goes red, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need that.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you guys, like, what? I'm so interested, because let's talk about Ego Death for a second. Like, that first part, Tim, when you're doing just that incredible work, like when you're writing that, do you kind of like, what's your process? Do you tab it out while you're doing it, or do you just kind of work it out?
No, I wish that I did that, because then it would save me the trouble of having to do it at the end. It starts with chords, and so that one, you know, the chords are pretty simple. It's just descending, you know, down the scale. And the thing about that one that makes, you know, the part, I guess, more interesting is that each chord lasts like 4 bars. So, you know, like, it's just really long phrases. And that's something that I was talking to Tosin. He was kind of like listening to our music, and he was saying, you guys love really long phrases. And that we do, I guess, you know, we're like, the it can't start over until it gets to the very end, and then it can start over. You know, that
Yeah.
whole thing that I'm doing is only happening twice. You know,
Right.
so basically, I kind of just, you know, find like the general groove of like and then stay within that rhythmic pattern,
I guess.
and then fill out, you know, like what the chords are hitting, you know,
Yeah.
so that, and then finding a melody that, like, obviously that one is like very complicated and not like, I wouldn't say there's like necessarily a hook inside of it. It's just kind of a really, really long phrase that's more so meant to be interesting and brain tickly than it is to be like an earworm, you know?
Yeah. And that it is, yeah.
But yeah, you know, like that's kind of like the process is, you know, just starting with the chords and then going one chord at a time. And going to be, once you're done with this one, you can move to this one, and then, you know, adding tension and releasing it like on the next downbeat, you know. So, but yeah.
And Scotty, when your part comes in, do you do it similarly?
Well, Tim had all like the chord progression written out and everything, so, and it's really just like all of the skeleton of his part, just again, but with, I guess, how I would have done it.
Yeah.
So when I kind of was taking a look at all of that, I guess I was like, okay, this part, like when it comes back into this, it should be epic. So that's, I guess, when I kind of got the idea to do that, you know, the big, just, I started off with just like a power chord.
Yeah, the big open chord.
Yeah.
Just space, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after I'm done womping out of that, I kind of just figured, okay, like it's epic. Let's do some of that. And then it kind of calms down a little bit. And then, you know, I get into like the thumpy section.
Yeah.
Finger picking, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of where, I remember the first thing I sent back to Tim, he was like, let's tweak the rhythmic things a little bit, because like you said before, you know, you have like the rhythmical pattern that you stick with.
Yeah, the groove was kind of decided, you know, especially when we added I added what, you know what those percussions are called in the background?
The claves and the bongos.
Yeah, there's claves and bongos that I added in the background that kind of really keep it like upbeat and almost like, I don't want to say tribal, but almost tribal sounding. I also added those little like cricket sounding like whoo whoo.
Yeah.
Like just to kind of like really build it, you know. But Scott had made his, and I listened to it. I thought it was incredible. I was like, let's just like move this one over here and then add a dun like on the second time, you know.
Yeah.
So that like each thing.
So do you guys sit and do that together when you're editing it?
Yeah, when we're editing, we'll get together. We kind of like to do a thing where, you know, I go off into my little cave and he'll go off into his little cave, and we'll meet back up and trade and take each other's things back to the cave. And
Fantastic. So I also noticed, you know, the sound and the tightness of the drums and the bass is just stunning. What's the process like when you guys were doing this track? Do you get the track from these guys, or like how does that work?
You got that one.
Yeah, I got that one in the studio. Well, most of the songs I get in the studio. That one was cool though, because I basically took a full day just listening to it over and over again and writing the parts. Drums come in. It was cool because, like we've said, he already had like all the rhythms written out. So I just, you know, figured out ways to match them on the cymbals. And then, just spent a whole day trying to get the rest of the song to where we thought it sounded good.
That only took you a day?
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
From the time you heard it to the time you laid it down?
Yeah, it was probably, because I think I'd already tracked like maybe 2 or 3 songs earlier that day, and then it was time for this one, so I listened to it, practiced, you know, went on my own and just started writing to it for about 3 or 4 hours, and then the next day, when we got there, probably did another 2 or 3 hours just tweaking the parts and getting it solid enough, and then tracked it. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, because there's a lot going on there, and it's uber tight.
Yeah, I was just repping it over and over again, trying to get it down, but
Yeah,
I think it turned out amazing.
it's amazing. And then when did the bass come on? Was that something you listened to afterwards? And
Kind of at the very end, right?
Getting the bass in?
Yeah.
That was the first song we did at that session.
At that session. So basically, the song was written at 3 different points of time.
Mhm.
My part, and then Scott's part,
Yeah, Scott hadn't
and then
pushed it
your
on
part.
Okay.
So we actually had to send Clay back to the studio to do the ending, because the first part is just doubled, my part into Scott's part.
Right.
And then Clay did his during that first time that I did mine, and then it's just doubled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just doubled for Scott's part. And then you did your part, and then Clay did his after yours.
Oh, okay.
So, there's lots of
Just a blur.
it's not a very linear process. It's very
Right.
like,
Bounce place, yeah. Is that how you make the whole record, basically?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much. We
Which-
kind of have to I don't know, for it to feel right, we figured that the guitars should probably be done first, so that way everything else can just kind of come around, and then if we need to change things, we can.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
and
And
on
that's
the guitar.
that's part of the reason why the record took so long to make, was just because, like, at not any point in time is there like, oh, there's 5 songs finished and there's this many left. It's like, oh, well, there's 12 songs that are like 70% done.
Right.
You know,
I know.
we're like bouncing back and forth between different songs, and it was like a big massive puzzle piece where you get a little context from this song, which then helps you finish this other song, because now you know what to do when you were like stuck there, and like as you finish it, like as you finish a puzzle, it starts making more sense as you put the whole picture together, so that's kind of how I could describe that. But
I feel like you could also say it's because we had so much time available to us to do it, that's kind of like why we were able to like thoroughly like go back to things. And
yeah, for us, I know the pandemic was obviously a very trying time for the majority of the world. For us, it was a little bit of a break in the constant touring that we were doing, and it really allowed us the time. So, it was a good thing for the record, at least.
Yeah. Same thing here.
Yeah.
A lot of people had challenges, but we thrived. But having that time, I think for a lot of musicians, and it allowed us to go a little deeper.
Yeah, very much so. Like just having the extra time to really give it the attention that it deserves,
Yeah. Now, when you guys go to play this live, so the guitar parts, the sound is, the patches are changing dramatically.
Yeah.
Do you do that, or do you kind of?
We used to tap dance on our Axe 8s, but now we on the quad cortexes, we have it midied so that like, as it gets to a different part of the song, it can change real quick and change right back.
I got hip on that finally on this tour.
Yes, for us on the last tour. Before that, it was Tap Dance City. Steve, this is the second tour that you're playing the Hydra stuff?
No, this is the first.
The first, you didn't play the Hydra in Europe.
No, I didn't. I couldn't because 2 days after I shot that video, I had to get the second shoulder surgery.
Okay, yeah.
And then the tour was only a month after that, and it takes like I couldn't even get my arm over the thing. I could pick, so I could play regular guitar, and I didn't even know if I was going to be able to play the Hydra until a couple of weeks before this tour, because that's when I was finally home again, and I had a little time, before rehearsals, and I was okay. It's the kind of thing where I just got to do it live enough, because it's so precarious, like last night my pick was it got sweaty, And
No.
the pick is everything, and just keeping the linear thing going, you know. And you lose the pick, and you're just like fucked, you know. You're derailed completely. But you know, just take a little time. But it feels good. I've had a couple of nights with it that came off excellent.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I remember, I can only imagine how easy it is. Well, I don't want to say easy for you, but you know, like with your skill set and a small amount of time to do something. I remember when you told us that you had flown in from, was it Spain or like from Europe, like right when we did the music video?
Oh, right, yeah.
And like you kind of just sat down with it that day to like figure out what you were gonna play in the music video.
Yeah.
And Scott just tabbed your solo, and we sat down with it for. I thought I was gonna be at your house for like an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I thought it was gonna take about an hour. We were there. I was there for like 6.5 hours, and that was just trying to figure out what the hell you were doing, and so we could like transcribe it, you know, let alone learning it well enough to like play in a music video the next day. Like I can only imagine, you know, like and from what you told us about the joint shifting with that part and everything, like it's just
Yeah, you
insane.
basically took all of your parts and put them
Into one
playable,
yeah.
performable.
Well,
part.
that I spent I had to spend some time on. I didn't do that the day before. I started that because, I mean, you know, when I did the solo, I didn't know there was going to be a video, you know. Yeah. So I did that first part with some overdubbed guitars, and then you guys said, "Okay, we're gonna shoot a video." I'm like, "Uh-oh, what am I gonna do here?" And then I thought, do it all. There has to be a way.
Yeah, well, you really made it work. Dude.
Well, it you know, some of it's cheated, of course, but yeah, you can do it.
Yeah. Well, one day we're gonna have to do it real soon. So.
Well, I'd love you guys experiment with the joint shifting. I mean, you can kind of hear, and I'm just scratching the surface. You know, I just get the idea, and then I hope that guys with young fingers pick it up. You know, and because I just hear what you guys could do with that, like with a whole piece of music, just constantly. It's a whole different kind of a feeling, you know. And so I'm just scratching the surface, but I can't imagine that transcribing that solo I did is any harder than what you do. I mean, if I had to sit and never mind.
Well, that everything is very, you know, to the grid. It's like, well, this is clearly a 16th. No, this is clearly a triplet 16th. Like, and then when we were trying to figure out yours, we were like, all right, there's this. He goes through all these notes, and it has to fit in this bar. And we're like, how do we subdivide this? Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Okay, I see. That's polyrhythms.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that if I might take something like 4 beats or 1 beat or a couple of beats, and instead of doing something even over it, I might do like 7 notes, or, you know, because it kind of, that's one of the ways that you can get that lyrical kind of a sound, you know. Yeah. But if you go to transcribe that, yeah, that'll be a little funny.
Well, you definitely made the joint shifting look very intimidating. And so give us a few years, maybe a decade, and we'll try it out. But, dude, I wanted to ask you, have you seen the clickbait yet?
The what?
The clickbait.
What's clickbait?
So I noticed it popping up yesterday from guitar.com, from even Guitar World, you know, who we did the interview with. Ultimate Guitar really did a bad one. But basically, they're taking, you know, the interview that we did and headlining it as, I remember like something like, it read like, Steve Vai recalls Polyphia chopping up his soul.
I've seen some of those. Yeah, you got to expect that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
because, you know, the magazines, they need to create some kind of drama, because for the most part, people live a dysfunctional life and they're attracted to drama. So they need to see, you know, they need to grab attention. So I knew when we were doing the interview, these days I'm just like, I'm just going to tell the truth about everything, because who cares, right? You know? And I just mentioned how, like, the moment I mentioned when I got the solo back and you guys had, you know, overdubbed on it and chopped it up, it was different than I had sent. And that's fine, you know, there's, but, you know, that's the line they're going to grab.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Sound like, you know.
When you read the Guitar World article, they have the full conversation.
Yeah.
And when you start looking at it on the other websites, like Ultimate Guitar, they left out pretty much everything. And it, like, really picked and choose what they wanted to put from there.
Yeah.
And I guess it's nice to hear from, you know, someone who's seasoned with press, like the proper way to respond to that. I was about to like make some tweets yesterday about the clickbait, but I'm glad I said nothing.
You know what, Tim, this kind of stuff, you get used to it. And I learned, because the things that you say in the press, even, you know, like when you're starting out, you have to answer to that stuff for the rest of your life.
So I'm currently doing it. I've made so many bad press mistakes in my short time on Earth. And it seems like, you know, they just, once you do it once, then everything else after that, they're going to like look for it. So
especially at the last press.
It's also a very precarious time in our, you know, in our history right now. So people are looking, they're on high alert for drama.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they, you know, that's okay. It's all okay. You know, I mean, you figure it out, you know, but I've just learned that I just try to be as positive as I can with anybody else's contribution in any way possible, because I know that everybody works hard, you know, everybody that creates music, it's meaningful to them, you know. And it wasn't like, you know, in the beginning, I was just like, man, you know, just filled with piss and vinegar, as they say. You know what I mean? Just like myopic and you know. But yeah, you grow thick skin, because it goes like this, blip. That's it. It comes and it goes. And the important thing is that you just keep making badass music. You just keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. And the other stuff, you know, you navigate it, and it doesn't matter. The clickbait stuff, that comes and goes, and also it's a psychology that the magazines use to pull you in.
To buy it and stuff.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I let it go, you know, I mean, I know, because there was a time, and I knew they were going to do that.
Yeah.
The moment the words came out of my mouth, I said, be careful, Vi, because you're going to see a headline that's going to say whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, every time we talk to you, Steve, we grow 10 times wiser. Thank you for your...
Well, it's that I went through a lot of it, you know, and you guys are doing it now, but you'll see, because you've got something, you all got something really great going. You have a unique offering. It really is unique what you're doing. And for those that don't get it, that's fine. That's fine. Not every, you know, not every, there's people that don't even like the Beatles, you know, but you're really onto something, the whole band. And that's what's important. And just drill it, man. Just keep drilling it, because there are people out there, and you know it. I mean, I see it. I see these guitar players that are trying to emulate you guys, and you created something unique. And you know how hard how rare that is? That's rare, man. It's like when Fusion came out when I was young, you know, it's like, what is Return to Forever? I mean, nothing like them, you know, but You carved something there. And when that happens, the people that don't get it will attack you.
Yeah.
Okay? Forgive them.
Yes.
Let them have their, let them have it. It doesn't matter because you got the goods.
Thank you.
That's never going to change.
Yeah. So yesterday, me and Scott did. You hear us?
I'm sorry, Tim, I lost you. Hang on one second. Now
Yeah, no
I can.
Okay, cool. I was saying yesterday.
I'm here now.
I was saying yesterday, me and Scott did an interview with I guess he was an older gentleman, and he kind of started the interview off with he was like, so after this new song with Steve Vai, it seems like there's a lot of people that find you annoying in the guitar community, and we were like, what?
They do?
We were like, I don't know what you're reading, but I feel very loved. I feel the love. And then he went on to go about how, it's quite possible that there's, a lot of older fans from, I guess, yours that came to the video and don't really quite understand what we're doing. And it got me thinking. I asked him, the interviewer yesterday, because he said that he was 20 years old when Passion and Warfare came out. And how back in the day, when that record came out, it was groundbreaking, and it changed the way people looked at guitar. And I asked him, did Steve have the old people hating on him back then? And he was like, oh yeah, it was very divisive, the guitar playing was so fresh and so new that a lot of people had never heard guitar playing like that, and so because they didn't understand it, they were saying there was definitely a lot of division. And so I guess I guess it was kind of news to us that what he was saying about people finding us annoying in the guitar community.
It's interesting to hear things like that too.
Yeah,
because all we comments that we want to read.
Yeah, I think at this point we've learned to brush off the hate ones and just read the ones that make us feel good. I think it was really cool to know that you've also been through every walk of life that we're currently going through, and just to hear from an audience member like the interviewer, who literally was there when Passion and Warfare came out, I just thought that was
the similar thing that I have with you guys at the stage, when you were starting and when I was starting, is there was a certain innocence. You had an idea and it was compelling and you just did it, and you didn't know what the consequences were going to be. You just enjoyed doing it. And when I did Passion and Warfare at first, when it came out, there was a lot of acceptance for it, because the guitar community, it resonated with them. But then times changed. It went from the 90s, went from the late 80s basically to the 90s when grunge came in. So what happened with me with Passion and Warfare, there's always a contingent of people that enjoy it and they get what you're doing and they connect with it. But the ones that don't understand it, instead of just not understanding it and letting it go, they voice their opinions, and that's fine.
They're talking about the record, and bringing more attention to it. So
yeah, there was a period in the 90s when grunge came in where I was, I think I mentioned it to you guys. I mean, I was a poster boy for everything that was wrong about playing the guitar. I mean, I have a stack, when I did Sex and Religion, I have a stack of reviews that are just horrendous. I mean, just to the point where somebody actually said his parents should have been neutered.
Oh my goodness.
And it hurts, at least it did back then. It's like, what do you mean? I'm trying best I can, and I like it, and they like it, and then after a while you're just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because here's where I was very lucky. Even though there's a period of time where you're accepted, and then you get attacked, and then it kind of goes like this, you know. But I was fortunate because even though at one point my ego was, you know, dying, you know, I kept making the music that was compelling to me, because once a creative idea comes along, it becomes the boss. You know what I mean? And you continue doing that through all of this stuff. And you guys are doing that, and you just got to continue to do that. Just be brutally creative. You know, you just stay brutally creative, and that fixes everything.
Yeah. I think that lately I've been really kind of pondering and yearning. No, just pondering and kind of realizing, like, the more things that we acquire, magazine covers and, you know, just cool things happening, I guess I thought it would feel cooler, you know what I mean? And, you know, the more that it keeps happening, the more that I realize the only thing that I care about is creation. You know, I think
that's a very healthy viewpoint, because most people believe that once they start achieving the kinds of things that, you know, when your cachet is on the rise, that equates into happiness, personal happiness.
Right.
And it's not the case. I mean, you get a certain kind of, you know, there's an appreciation there for the success, but as you're saying, you just have to be the creative. The creative action is the fulfillment.
Yes. Yeah. I think that the true fulfilling life is one where you just make shit all the time.
Yeah,
so
what you're here for.
Well, that you know, hearing that confirmed from you really gives us more motivation to, you know, obviously stick through it, through the ups and the downs of it all, you know, because I think
but it's okay if you feel, you know, if you take some of that stuff personally, and because, you know, man, artists, they're kind of cursed.
Yeah.
They want to share what they create. Everybody does. Everybody wants to share their contribution. Because and when an artist puts something out there, it's kind of like they're not saying, how do you like my song? They're saying, basically, in their mind, how do you like me? Because this is me. And then
right.
when it gets torn up, you're like, you know, you can take it personally. So that's completely understandable, but you don't have to.
Yeah. One thing that I learned a couple of years ago, I was doing a session with Heavy Mellow, who helped me start playing God, and he kind of gave me like a list of pointers, because he works with like Rick Rubin and a bunch of really big, awesome, incredible, like almost philosophical producers. Mm-hmm. And things that really stuck with me was, he said, don't be precious. Like, you know, I guess what he meant was, when you contribute something to the song or to the music, you know, you don't need to like hold on to it like it's you. You know what I mean? Like, you can let you know, everyone else who's working on the song kind of mold it to what it needs to be. You know what I mean? And that really stuck with me. And I think, you know, even when we share like this new record that's coming out for us, I think it's gonna be pretty divisive, you know, like, especially with songs like the one we released previous to Ego Death, ABC, which was just a pop song. We've got some rap songs on the record, and then we've got, like, you know, things that I know that our diehard fans are gonna love, like Ego Death. And I think that it's gonna be pretty divisive, and, you know, I know that a lot of people are gonna have a lot of not nice things to say about something that we all kind of poured our hearts and souls into over the past 3 or 4 years that we've been working on it. But, you know, I guess not being precious about it is the way to go.
Man, so, I gotta say, I don't know if you guys do this too, but when I read those comments, first of all, maybe when we were like teenagers, I would get offended and like sad. but I really don't. I kind of enjoy reading what other people have to say.
The alternative perspective.
Yeah, because I want to see. It's just interesting to me to see how people feel about it and to kind of like listen to it, trying to hear it the way that they heard it. And I don't know. I've been doing that.
I didn't get to that point for a while. You know, it took me a little time to be able to get to that point, but I understand what you mean for sure. I think that's a very healthy way to look at it, because nobody, you know, everybody has different tastes.
Yeah,
exactly. Well,
it's cool to understand why they dislike it, so that you know.
And it even kind of sometimes helps me figure things out, because I'm like, okay, well, let me think of this next thing that I write in the hater's perspective. I'm just kidding. No, but you know, I don't know, just like all points of view and things like that.
Yeah, it's important, but at the end of the day, you're going to be you get inspired for an idea for something that is perfect for you. You know, it's connected to the way you play, the things you're interested in, and that is always going to be the boss. Like I said, it's always going to have an allure to it that it just takes you out of any of the comments you read or past records or anything. And that's really a nice place to be, when you just feel like, all right, I have a good idea and I'm going to execute it, and that's it, the end, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think we've, like I said, every time we speak to you, we get 10 times wiser. So it's good.
Every time I talk to you guys, I get an insight into very fresh thinking.
Yeah.
You know, very new, fresh thinking. It's so nice seeing it.
Chaotic relationship, symbiotism. Steve, thank you for your time, man. Me and Scott are gonna, you know, drive about an hour-ish to come see you in sound check.
Oh,
so we want
I
to
didn't know that far. Sorry about that.
want to make sure we leave on time.
We signed up for that when we moved out here in the boonies. So, but
6.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your time, man. We love and appreciate you, and appreciate all the you know, the things that you've done to help us and contributing to our music and just everything. So we'll see you, you know, in like an hour, and we'll fucking jam it up, dude.
Okay, great. You know, I just want to say again, all you guys, you're doing so well, and you're really creating great, unique, new, fresh music. And there's so many people that find great value in that. You know what it's like when you find an artist and you really resonate with them. It's like Christmas or something, you know, and it's a life treasure. And you guys are that for so many people. So you're doing great, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dude.
All right. Much love to you, bro.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a little while.
See you, dude.